In her previous life, Jiang Xinyue was the beloved daughter of the Jiang family. Beautiful, graceful, and painfully naive. She believed love could conquer everything. For her fiancé, Lu Tingxiao, she gave up her pride. For her adopted sister, Jiang Rulan, she gave endless trust and protection. She treated Rulan like real family. But the people she loved most became the ones who destroyed her. Behind her back, Lu Tingxiao and Jiang Rulan had been involved for years. They smiled in front of her while plotting her downfall in the shadows. Step by step, they stole everything that belonged to her. Her family's trust, her inheritance, her reputation, even her identity. Xinyue was framed as a vicious and jealous woman. Everyone began to despise her. No matter how desperately she tried to explain, no one believed her. Her parents looked at her with disappointment. Her servants whispered behind her back. The man she loved treated her like trash. In the end, she lost everything. Abandoned, humiliated, broken, she died alone with endless regret. Regret for being blind, regret for trusting the wrong people, regret for failing to see the truth until it was too late. As darkness swallowed her whole, hatred burned inside her heart. If heaven gave her another chance, she would never be that foolish woman again. She would make every betrayer pay. When Jiang Xinyue opened her eyes again, loud applause filled her ears. Golden lights shone above her. Elegant music echoed through the grand hall. She froze. This place, she knew it too well. It was betrothal ceremony. Then her gaze shifted forward, not upward, but toward the vast hall below. And there, she saw it. The crowd of noble guests. Among them Jiang Rulan, standing gently, smiling softly, like the beginning of a nightmare that had not yet happened. Xinyue's fingers slowly clenched. Her heart pounded violently in her chest. Not fear, but realization. She had come back, to this exact moment, the engagement banquet. The day everything had destroyed her life. The day she had died before. Her eyes slowly turned cold. All emotions from her past life began to surface. Pain, betrayal, death, and beneath it all, something sharper was born, clarity. She would not cry this time. She would not beg. She would not repeat her past mistakes. Everything looked perfect, but on the ceremonial dais, Jiang Xinyue was no longer the same person. Her eyes were calm, too calm. Beside her stood Lu Tingxiao, still wearing that gentle expression, the same face from her past life. The face that betrayed her. Below the dais, among the noble guests, Jiang Rulan was already moving. Soft steps, trembling fingers, perfect innocent expression. She reached for a porcelain cup, the same script as before, the same moment that once destroyed Xinyue. In her previous life, that single moment had destroyed everything. Jiang Rulan had accidentally dropped it. She had cried. She had acted like a victim, and within seconds, the entire hall turned against her. Whispers spread, accusations formed, and no one asked the truth. Not even Lu Tingxiao. He had looked at her and said only one word: enough. That was the moment everything collapsed. Her reputation, her family's trust, her future, all destroyed by a single staged accident. But this time, something was different. Careful. A cold voice cut through the hall. Everything froze. The cup stopped midair. Silence fell instantly. Everyone turned. The voice came from the dais. Jiang Xinyue slowly looked down. Her gaze landed on Rulan. Calm, sharp, unshaken. You almost dropped that. Rulan froze for a fraction of a second, then quickly lowered her head. I was just nervous. Her voice trembled perfectly. Too perfect. But Xinyue only smiled faintly. I see. The script had broken. No accident, no victim, no chaos. Lu Tingxiao turned his head slightly, looking at Xinyue. For the first time, something felt different. Below the dais, Rulon clenched her fingers, confused, because this was not supposed to happen. She tried again, slowly lifting the cup, attempting to reset the moment, but Xinyue spoke again. "Take the cup away." A servant immediately stepped in, removing it before it could fall. Jiang Roland stood frozen. For the first time, she realized something terrifying. The prey was no longer acting like prey. And on the ceremonial dais, Jiang Xinyue looked down, already deciding this was only the beginning. The banquet had finally ended. Night quietly settled over the Jiang estate. Inside her chamber, candlelight flickered softly against the walls. Jiang Xinyue sat before the bronze mirror in silence. Her expression was calm. Almost too calm. The events of the evening replayed inside her mind. Every movement of Jiang Rulon, every subtle reaction from the crowd, and every glance from Lu Tingxiao. A soft knock broke the silence. Moments later, Lu Tingxiao entered her chamber. He had come because something from earlier continued to bother him. During the banquet, Xinyue had felt different. Not visibly, but enough for someone observant to notice. She had been unusually calm, too composed, too difficult to read. And that unfamiliar change left a strange discomfort in his chest. He quietly asked about her condition, whether she was still upset about what happened during the banquet, whether something had troubled her. His tone remained gentle, just as it always had. But beneath that gentleness was careful observation. He was watching her reaction, testing whether his instincts were wrong. Xinyue responded exactly as the old Jiang Xinyue would. She told him nothing was wrong, that she was simply tired after the long evening. She even softened her expression, maintaining the same warmth and gentleness she had always shown him. There was no anger, no resentment, no sign of unusual emotion. Everything about her seemed perfectly normal. The more Lu Tingxiao observed her, the less he could find anything suspicious. Logically, nothing was wrong. Her expression was natural, her voice steady, her behavior familiar. Everything aligned with the woman he had always known, and yet, that strange feeling refused to disappear. Because despite her gentle smile, something was missing. A subtle warmth he could not describe. In the past, whenever she looked at him, her eyes carried unmistakable affection, a kind of devotion impossible to hide. But tonight, the warmth remained only on the surface, not in her eyes, not in her presence. It was such a subtle difference. Most people would never notice it, but Lu Tingxiao did, even if he could not understand why. After confirming that nothing appeared wrong, he eventually decided to leave. There was no reason to stay longer, at least none he could justify. Before leaving, he glanced at her one last time. She still looked graceful, gentle, perfectly composed, exactly as she should be. Yet the unease inside him only deepened. As the chamber door closed behind him, a strange thought lingered in his mind. He felt as though something important had changed tonight, something invisible, something beyond words. And for the first time, Lu Tingxiao realized he could no longer read Jiang Xinyue as easily as before. Meanwhile, inside the chamber, the gentle warmth vanished from Xinyue's face. Her eyes turned cold once more. She knew exactly what he had come to confirm, and she also knew one thing clearly. Tonight was only the beginning. After praying at the temple for her peace in her heart, Jiang Xinyue prepared to return to the capital. The mountain road was narrow and dangerous. Normally, the Jiang family's guards would ensure her safety, but halfway down the mountain, something felt wrong. The horses suddenly became restless. Their breathing turned heavy. Then, they lost control. The carriage sped forward violently, The driver screamed. The guards shouted in panic. Jiang Xinyue's eyes sharpened instantly. This was no accident. Someone had tampered with the horses beforehand. This was an assassination. She immediately realized the truth. Someone wanted her dead before she could make her next move. The carriage rushed toward the cliffside path. If it continued, she would die. Without hesitation, Jiang Xinyue grabbed the carriage frame and jumped. Her body rolled hard across the rocky slope. Sharp stones tore through her sleeve. Pain shot through her limbs. She kept rolling until her body stopped near the edge of a steep cliff. Her breathing turned ragged. Blood stained her palm, but she was alive. Then she heard steel clash. Clang! Clang! Not far away, someone was fighting. Jiang Xinyue looked up. A group of black-clothed assassins surrounded one man. Even injured, that man stood like an unshakable mountain. His sword was stained red. His aura was terrifying, cold, dominant, dangerous. Jiang Xinyue's pupils contracted. She recognized him instantly. Jingyuan, the Empire's undefeated war god. The most feared prince in the entire dynasty. The man who held military power in one hand and death in the other. Why was he here? Then realization hit. This wasn't coincidence. He had also been ambushed. Before she could think further, her pupils suddenly contracted. Behind Pai Jingyuan, a shadow moved silently through the chaos. An assassin. A sneak attack. Pai Jingyuan was focused on the enemies in front of him. Jiang Xinyue's heartbeat spiked. Without hesitation, she shouted, "Behind you!" The warning cut through the battlefield. Pai Jingyuan reacted instantly. His body twisted with terrifying speed. Slash. Blood sprayed into the air. The hidden assassin fell dead before his blade could descend. For the first time, Pai Jingyuan turned toward the source of that voice. His cold gaze landed on Jiang Xinyue, sharp, dangerous, unreadable. This woman had just saved him. The last assassin fell. Silence returned to the mountain. Only the smell of blood lingered in the cold air. Jiang Xinyue remained where she was. Her body still hurt from the fall, but her mind stayed sharp. Heavy footsteps approached, steady, unhurried. Yet every step carried overwhelming pressure. Pai Jingyuan stopped in front of her. His sword was still stained with fresh blood. Blood dripped slowly onto the ground. His cold gaze locked onto her. Like a predator studying prey. The pressure was suffocating. Most noble ladies would have collapsed under such fear. But Jiang Xinyue did not lower her eyes. She met his gaze directly. That alone made his eyes narrow slightly. Interesting. This woman was calmer than expected. Without warning, the prince raised his sword. The sharp blade stopped at her throat, just 1 inch away. Cold steel touched her skin. One move, and she would die. His voice was low, dangerously calm. He asked who she was. Jiang Xinyue answered truthfully. The legitimate daughter of the Jiang family. His gaze did not soften. Instead, it grew colder. A minister's daughter appearing on an assassination site. Too suspicious. He asked why she was here. Jiang Xinyue briefly explained the carriage attack. Someone had tampered with her horses. Someone wanted her dead. She had jumped to survive. Silence followed. Pai Jingyuan studied every micro-expression on her face, searching for lies, but found none. Then came the real question. Why did she help him? Pai Jingyuan's cold gaze sharpened. Jiang Xinyue's heartbeat quickened. This was the dangerous part. One wrong answer, and the sword would cut her throat. She inhaled slowly, then said something unexpected. She told him the assassin behind him was not the important part. The important part was the traitor beside him. The air froze. Pai Jingyuan's eyes turned terrifying. Killing intent exploded from his body. The mountain wind seemed to stop. Traitor. That word touched the one secret he never revealed publicly. Only a handful of trusted men knew internal military routes were being leaked. How could she know? His blade pressed slightly deeper. A thin line of blood appeared on her neck. He demanded an explanation. Jiang Xinyue ignored the pain. Her voice remained calm. She said if she truly worked with his enemies, she would have stayed silent and let the hidden blade kill him earlier, not save him. Silence. That logic was difficult to refute. Xinyue stared at her. The girl before him was wounded, covered in dust, blood staining her sleeve. Yet her eyes remained frighteningly steady. No pleading, no panic, no trembling. As if she had already calculated every step. She said she knew who had betrayed him, and she could help expose that person. In exchange, she wanted something from him. Protection. Not temporary protection, but a powerful shield in the capital. Pajinguan's gaze darkened. Most people begged him for mercy. This woman negotiated with him. Interesting. Very interesting. After a long silence, his sword finally lowered. But his eyes remained fixed on her. He told her one thing. If she lied, death would be mercy. Jiang Xinyue showed no fear. Instead, a faint smile appeared on her lips. Good. That meant he had accepted the deal. For the first time in years, Jingyuan felt genuine curiosity towards someone. The Jiang family's daughter, rumored to be gentle and blinded by love, was nothing like the rumors. Not simple at all. The mountain wind grew colder. Blood slowly dripped from Jiang Xinyue's palm. Yet her gaze remained steady. Across from her, Pajingyuan stared in silence. His presence was suffocating. Cold, sharp, oppressive. His sword was no longer at her throat. But the danger had not disappeared. He asked her one final question. If she truly knew about the traitor, then who was it? Jiang Xinyue's heartbeat slowed. This was the moment. She had successfully gained his attention. But revealing everything now would be foolish. Trust between them did not exist yet. She needed leverage. She parted her lips, then spoke calmly. The traitor was someone closer to him than he realized. Not just someone within the military. Someone close enough to know movements before orders were even executed. Pajingyuan's eyes turned colder. The air around him seemed to freeze. He stepped closer, his voice lowered. He demanded a name. Jiang Xinyue looked directly at him. She was about to speak. Then her vision blurred. Her body suddenly swayed. The pain she had suppressed until now came crashing down all at once. She tried to force herself to stay conscious. No, not now. Not yet. But darkness flooded her vision. Her knees weakened. She was collapsing just before her body hit the ground. A strong arm caught her. Silence. For a brief second, even Pajingyuan paused. The woman in his arms felt frighteningly light. Too light, as if a strong wind could break her. At that moment, several shadow guards finally arrived. They knelt instantly, reporting that the remaining enemies had been eliminated. Then they froze. Shock flashed across every face. Their master was holding a woman. A woman. This was unbelievable. Everyone in the capital knew one thing about the war prince. He hated unnecessary contact, especially with women. Yet now, he personally held one in his arms. No one dared speak. Haijingguan ignored their reactions. His gaze remained on Jiang Xinyue's pale face, his expression unreadable. Then he spoke. Take her back. The guards were stunned, hesitated before speaking. Your Highness, should we send her back to her residence? Pajingyuan's eyes turned cold. His answer came immediately. No. His voice left no room for argument. She still had information he needed. Too many unanswered questions remained. How did she know about the traitor? How much did she know? Who exactly was she? He would get those answers himself. He gave another order. Summon the imperial physician. Treat her injuries. No one touches her without my permission. The guard's shock deepened. Imperial physician for this woman. Just who was she? Without another word, Jiang carried Jiang Xinyue toward his carriage. The mountain returned to silence. Only blood and corpses remained behind. Hours later, warmth slowly returned to Jiang Xinyue's body. Her eyelids trembled, then opened. She stared at the unfamiliar ceiling above her. The room was elegant, luxurious, but cold in style. Her mind sharpened instantly. This was not the Jiang residence. Where was she? Then a low voice came from nearby. Awake! Jiang Xinyue's body stiffened. She turned toward the source. There, sitting in the shadows, was Jiang, watching her. Like a predator, patiently waiting for prey to wake up. His gaze locked onto hers. Unreadable. Dangerous. Then he spoke again. Now, continue what you were about to say. Who is the traitor? Jiang Xinyue's breath paused. She instantly understood. She had awakened inside the most dangerous place in the empire. The private residence of the war prince. And the man before her had no intention of letting her leave until he got his answers. Jiang Xinyue slowly sat up. Pain immediately shot through her shoulder and waist. Her brows furrowed slightly. The prince noticed every small reaction, but his expression did not change. He was not here to comfort her. He wanted answers. Jiang Xinyue steadied herself, then met his gaze. The traitor is someone close to you. Very close. Someone trusted enough to know military routes before deployment. The temperature seemed to drop. Jiang's eyes narrowed. His voice became colder. A name. Jiang Xinyue remained calm. Giving him a name now would achieve nothing. Without proof, even the truth could be dismissed as manipulation. She explained that exposing a hidden snake required patience. The traitor had hidden for too long. Such a person would never confess from mere accusation. They needed evidence. A trap. Jiang watched her in silence. This woman was bold. Too bold. She was speaking to him as if discussing military strategy with an equal. Yet everything she said made sense. She continued. The traitor would move only when valuable information appeared, so they would feed false information, a carefully crafted bait, then observe who moved in secret, who contacted outsiders, who panicked. The guilty person would reveal himself. Silence stretched between them. Jiang studied her face carefully. No hesitation, no fear, no visible deceit, only frightening composure. Finally, he spoke. What do you want in return? Jiang Xinyue answered immediately. Protection, not forever. Only until I finish dealing with my enemies in the capital. His eyes sharpened. Enemies. A noble daughter speaking openly about enemies. Interesting. She continued. The carriage attack was proof enough. Someone wanted her dead. This would not be the last attempt. She needed a shield strong enough to make them hesitate. And no shield in the empire was stronger than the war prince. A faint, dangerous smile appeared on Jiang's lips. Most people approached him with flattery, with hidden motives disguised as loyalty. This woman hid nothing. Her ambition was obvious. And strangely, that made her more believable. After a long silence, Jiang finally stood. He walked toward her bed, each step heavy with pressure. Then he placed something beside her, a black jade token, engraved with a golden emblem, the symbol of the war prince. Jiang Xinyue's pupils contracted slightly. Jiang's voice was low. Take this. With this token, you may contact my people directly. No one in the capital will dare touch you openly." His gaze darkened. "But if you deceive me, no place in the empire will save you." Jiang Xinyue looked at the token, then slowly picked it up. Good. The alliance was official. Step 1 was complete. Meanwhile, chaos had erupted inside the Jiang residence. The damaged carriage had been discovered. The coachman was dead. Several guards had died during the attack. The surviving guards returned heavily injured. Even Jiang Xinyue's maid had been brought back wounded and unconscious. But Jiang Xinyue herself was nowhere to be found. Minister Jiang's face had darkened completely. His usual composure was gone. He ordered search teams to comb every mountain road. No corner was to be left unchecked. The atmosphere in the residence grew suffocating. Servants moved carefully. No one dared breathe too loudly. Nearby, Zhang Rulan stood with reddened eyes. Tears clung to her lashes. She looked devastated, as if deeply worried for her elder sister. Her thoughts churned rapidly. Why was there no body? Had Jiang Xinyue survived? Or fallen somewhere unseen? She should have died. Everything had been planned carefully. Then, Zhang Rulan spoke softly, her voice trembling. She said she only feared something worse had happened. The mountain road was isolated. If elder sister survived and was rescued by someone unknown, then she hesitated, as if afraid to continue. The seed had already been planted, a young, unmarried woman disappearing for hours with an unknown man. Even if nothing improper happened, would society believe her innocence? Silence fell over the hall. Several elders exchanged glances. Their expressions subtly changed. In noble society, a woman's reputation could decide her entire future. Sometimes, rumors alone were enough to destroy a lifetime. Zhang Rulan lowered her head, looking regretful, as though she wished she had never spoken. But inside, a cold smile surfaced. Even if Jiang Xinyue survived, her reputation could still be ruined. Just then, a servant rushed into the hall, breathless, panicked. "Master, a carriage has stopped outside the main gate." Minister Jiang frowned. "Whose carriage?" The servant swallowed hard, his face turned pale. "There is someone with eldest miss." The entire hall froze. Jiang Rulan's heart skipped a beat. Impossible. Everyone hurried toward the front gate. Then they stopped. A woman stepped down from the carriage, alive, walking on her own. It was Jiang Xinyue. Zhang Rulan's face turned pale. Shock exploded in her chest. She survived. Not only that, she returned alive. Then everyone noticed the figure standing behind her. A shadow guard in black robes, silent, expressionless, but on his chest was an unmistakable emblem, the symbol of the war prince. The entire Jiang residence fell silent. All eyes were fixed on Jiang Xinyue. Zhang Rulan rushed forward, her eyes were red with tears, her expression filled with relief. "Elder sister, thank heavens you are safe. We were all so worried." Her voice trembled beautifully. Then her tone shifted, soft, careful, as if every word came from concern. Worried that elder sister had disappeared for hours after being taken away by an unknown man. She feared that man might have ill intentions. Jiang Xinyue looked at her, then she smiled faintly, a cold, unreadable smile. Her voice was calm. "Taken away by a lecherous man? I was rescued and escorted back by His Highness the War Prince." "Are you implying that the Empire's war god, the prince who protects this nation, is a lecherous man?" The entire hall froze. Silence fell instantly. Zhang Rulan's face turned pale. Minister Jiang's expression darkened at once. His hand slammed heavily. "Enough! No one is allowed to discuss this matter again. Anyone who spreads another word will be severely punished." No one dared breathe too loudly. Jiang Rulan lowered her head, but her fingers trembled uncontrollably inside her sleeve. Several days passed. One night, a shadow guard silently appeared outside Jiang Xinyue's chamber. "The War Prince requests your presence." Jiang Xinyue followed without hesitation. Soon, she entered the prince's residence once again. This time, she was led directly into the study. Warm candlelight illuminated military maps across a large table. The scent of ink and sandalwood filled the air. Qin Juan stood before the map, even in silence. His presence dominated the room. Then he spoke. "You're late." Jiang Xinyue raised a brow. She had arrived exactly on time. "The route to your highness's residence is more complicated than expected." A faint smile touched Pajingyuan's lips. The bait worked. Someone moved. He gestured toward the map. False military information had been leaked. Soon after, suspicious activity appeared. Someone had secretly sent a message outside the capital. Jiang Xinyue stepped closer, studying the map. Her eyes moved swiftly. Then she pointed at a marked route. "This route avoids city patrols. The traitor is careful, experienced." Pajingyuan watched her silently. Again, the same thought surfaced. Impossible. How could a noble daughter analyze military routes so naturally? Jiang Xinyue suddenly looked up. Their eyes met. The distance between them had unknowingly become close. Very close. Close enough for her to catch the faint sandalwood scent from him. Close enough for him to notice her steady breathing. No nervousness. No fear. Only calm intelligence. Interesting. A few days later, the capital welcomed the annual Lantern Festival. Golden lanterns illuminated every street. The city glowed like stars fallen to earth. Jiang Rulan happily invited Jiang Xinyue to attend together, saying sisters should spend more time bonding. Jiang Xinyue almost laughed. How amusing. Not long after arriving, Jiang Rulan pointed toward a lantern stall, saying she wanted to buy a lantern. Then she quietly slipped away. Jiang Xinyue followed from behind. Soon, she found Jiang Rulan in a secluded corner. Lu Tingchao was already there. Jiang Rulan's eyes were red. Her delicate face looked pitiful under the lantern light. Her voice sounded soft and aggrieved. She said everything had been arranged perfectly. The horses had been drugged beforehand. The mountain road had been chosen carefully, yet Jiang Xinyue still survived. She said now everything had become troublesome. If Jiang Xinyue started suspecting them, their future together would become difficult. Lu Tingxiao's expression darkened. He gently held Jiang Rulan's shoulders, telling her not to worry. One failed attempt meant nothing. They still had other ways. Anyone blocking his path would eventually be removed. Only then did Jiang Rulan relax. She stepped forward and buried herself in his arms. Lu Tingxiao wrapped his arms around her waist, promising to protect her. From the shadows, Jiang Xinyue watched them with icy eyes. No anger, no heartbreak, only disgust. Something very interesting is happening here. A low voice suddenly sounded behind her. Jiang Xinyue's pupils contracted slightly. She turned. Pajingyuan stood behind her. A faint smile rested on his lips, as if the scene before him was mildly entertaining. Without thinking, Jiang Xinyue grabbed his wrist and pulled him away from the corner, straight toward the stone bridge. Only after stopping did she realize what she had done. She had touched the war prince without permission. Yet, Pajingyuan said nothing. His gaze quietly fell upon the hand still holding him. Then footsteps approached. Lu Tingxiao and Jiang Rulan arrived. Lu Tingxiao froze upon seeing Pajingyuan. Shock flashed across his face. He immediately bowed respectfully. Jiang Rulan also lowered her head. Lu Tingxiao calmly explained that he and Rulan had coincidentally met on the way here. So, They walked together. Then he respectfully thanked the prince for saving Jiang Xinyue during the mountain accident. He even spoke as if representing her. On behalf of Xinyue, I thank your highness for saving my fiancé. Jiang Xinyue remained silent. Pei Jingyuan looked at Lu Tingzhao quietly. Then a faint, unreadable smile touched his lips. I merely happened to pass by. His tone was calm, but that slight smile made Lu Tingzhao feel an inexplicable chill, because somehow it felt as though the prince already knew everything. After the Lantern Festival, Pei Jingyuan moved swiftly. The net he had cast finally tightened. Before long, the hidden traitor was found. Surprisingly, the traitor was not an outsider, but one of Pei Jingyuan's own trusted subordinates. The revelation shocked even his inner circle. That man had followed Pei Jingyuan for years. He was loyal, capable, and had survived countless battlefields by the prince's side. No one expected him to betray the war prince, but the truth was more complicated. He had never intended to betray his master. His family had been secretly kidnapped months ago. The enemy used their lives as leverage, forcing him to become a spy. When the truth came to light, the man fell to his knees. Ashamed, broken, unable to face Qinjuan, he admitted everything, including the hidden network operating inside the capital. But Pei Jingyuan had already anticipated this, the moment the traitor exposed the enemy's location. The prince acted without hesitation. His elite guards moved through the night like blades. Every hidden operative was captured. Every safe house was destroyed. Not a single enemy escaped. More importantly, the hostage family was rescued safely. When the subordinate saw his wife and children alive, tears filled his eyes. He repeatedly kowtowed before Pei Jingyuan, unable to speak from gratitude and shame. Pei Jingyuan looked at him with cold, steady eyes. His voice remained calm. You were weak, but not disloyal. The man trembled violently. For him, those words were heavier than any punishment. Pei Jingyuan turned away. The matter was resolved. The hidden threat inside his ranks had been eliminated, and the enemy's scheme had completely collapsed. Far away, inside the Jiang residence, a shadow guard silently appeared outside Jiang Xinyue's chamber. Miss Jiang, the hidden traitor has been found, and the matter has been settled. A faint smile touched her lips. As expected, with Pei Jingyuan's methods, once he moved, there would be no survivors among his enemies. The shadow guard then delivered another message. In 3 days, an imperial banquet would be held at the palace. Jiang Xinyue's eyes narrowed slightly. Imperial banquet. She knew such events never ended peacefully, especially with Zheng Rulan still around. A cold light flashed through her eyes. 3 days later, the imperial banquet began. The palace was filled with music and laughter. Jiang Xinyue entered the grand hall with the Jiang family. Her expression remained calm, but she immediately sensed something unusual. Zheng Rulan was too quiet tonight. As expected, not long after the banquet began, Zheng Rulan made her move. She personally offered Jiang Xinyue a cup of fruit wine. Her smile looked gentle and harmless, saying she wanted to apologize for the misunderstandings between sisters. Jiang Xinyue calmly accepted the cup, but before drinking, she caught something strange. A faint scent, barely noticeable, but familiar. Her eyes sharpened slightly. Aphrodisiac. Interesting. So this was Zheng Rulan's next move. Jiang Xinyue lowered her gaze, pretending not to notice. Jiang Xinyue lightly touched the cup, then calmly switched it during the chaos of servant movement, so naturally that no one noticed, not even Zheng Rulan. Moments later, Zheng Rulan drank from the prepared cup herself, still smiling, still unaware. Time passed. The banquet continued. Then gradually, something changed. Zheng Rulan's breathing became uneven, then strangely flushed. Her fingers trembled. Sweat formed on her forehead. Her body felt hotter and hotter. No, impossible. Realization hit her like lightning. Her pupils shook. The drug. She had taken the drug herself. Panic surged through her chest. She quickly stood, saying she felt unwell, then hurriedly left the hall, her steps unstable, her breathing ragged. Jiang Xinyue watched her leave, calmly. Soon, a terrified servant returned, her entire body trembling. She could barely speak. Something happened in the guest chambers. The emperor rose from his seat. His expression turned grim. Everyone followed behind. When they reached the chamber, the scene inside stunned everyone. Zhang Rulan was on the bed, her hair disheveled, her clothes in disorder, her face flushed red. Beside her, a strange man knelt on the floor, his face pale with terror. The entire hall exploded. Whispers spread instantly. Impossible. How shameless. Zhang Rulan's body trembled violently. Her mind was still foggy from the drug. She tried to explain, but no words came out. Lu Tingxiao's face lost all color. His entire body stiffened. He stared at the scene in disbelief. The emperor's expression turned frighteningly cold. How dare such filth happen inside the imperial palace? The empress suddenly narrowed her eyes. Something felt wrong. Zhang Rulan's breathing was too chaotic. Her complexion looked terrible. She immediately ordered the imperial physician to examine her. The physician stepped forward, checked her pulse. The physician quickly explained. She had consumed a powerful aphrodisiac. The drug had disrupted her pulse, and she was pregnant. Then the room exploded. The nobles were completely stunned. Pregnant. Zhang Rulan was pregnant. The news struck like thunder. Lu Tingxiao's pupils contracted violently. His blood ran cold. Jiang Xinyue's eyes narrowed slightly. Even she had not expected this. Pregnant. She looked at Zhang Rulan calmly. No pity surfaced in her eyes, only cold indifference. Slowly, Zhang Rulan's breathing steadied. The effect of the drug gradually weakened. Her blurred vision became clear. Then reality crashed into her, the bed beneath her. The strange man restrained by imperial guards, the countless eyes staring at her. The emperor finally spoke, his voice calm, yet terrifyingly cold. Explain. Zhang Rulan's lips trembled. Her mind raced wildly. She wanted to deny everything, but no excuse came. Her silence only made the atmosphere heavier. A deep voice sounded from outside. "Your Majesty, this prince has something to report." Everyone turned. Pajing stepped into the chamber. His black robe carried an overwhelming pressure. The moment he appeared, the entire hall fell silent. Pajing bowed slightly, then spoke with calm authority. "The group of hired men working for enemy spies has been captured." His words stunned everyone. Enemy spies. Inside the capital. This was no small crime. Pianjuan's cold gaze swept toward the restrained man. "This man is one of them." Shock spread across the room. Pajing continued. "During interrogation, they confessed everything, including the sabotage of Jiang Miss's carriage." The entire hall erupted. Zhang Rulan's pupils shook violently. No. Impossible. How could this happen? Pajing voice remained cold. The people behind that assassination attempt were Lu Tingxiao and Zhang Rulan. Then chaos exploded. The nobles were completely stunned. Disbelief filled every face. Her own fiancé, her own adopted sister. The people closest to Jiang Xinyue were the ones who tried to kill her. Lu Tingxiao's face lost all color. Cold sweat drenched his back. Zhang Rulan collapsed to the bed, her body shaking uncontrollably. Everything had collapsed. The emperor's fury exploded. His voice thundered through the chamber. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Attempted murder, collusion with enemy spies, and bringing disgrace into the imperial palace. Each crime deserved severe punishment. No one dared speak. The entire hall knelt in silence. The emperor's gaze fell upon Lu Tingxiao. From this day onward, Lu Tingxiao shall be imprisoned for life, never to be released. Lu Tingxiao's knees gave out, his face turned ashen. The emperor continued, "The Lu family shall be stripped of noble status, exiled to the borderlands, forbidden from returning to the capital." Then the emperor looked toward Zheng Rulan, his gaze cold with disgust. Zheng Rulan trembled violently, unable to even raise her head. Back at the Jiang residence, Minister Zheng was furious. His palms slammed onto the table. He declared that from this day onward, Zheng Rulan was no longer part of the Zheng family. Her name was erased from the family registry. Because she carried Lu Tingxiao's child, she was sent to the Lu family, but the Lu family hated her. In their eyes, she was the root of their downfall. From then on, Zhang Rulan lived in misery. Every day she was cursed, humiliated, punished. Worse, they refused to acknowledge the child in her womb. After all, she had been caught inside a chamber with another man. No one believed her innocence. Inside the prison, Lu Tingxiao was consumed by endless regret. He regretted betraying Jiang Xinyue and hated Zheng Rulan for destroying everything, but it was all too late. One night, Jiang Xinyue stood inside her chamber, quietly holding the prince's token. A shadow entered silently. Without turning around, she spoke calmly. "The traitor has already been captured. Why are you still sneaking in?" No answer came. Jiang Xinyue frowned slightly, then turned around. Her breath paused. Pe Jingyuan stood there, alone. She immediately bowed. "Your Highness, why have you come?" Pe Jingyuan looked at her steadily. Then he asked, "Who are you really? How do you know so many hidden secrets?" Silence filled the room. Jiang Xinyue raised her eyes slightly. "Your Highness may find it absurd, but once I saw the future in a dream." Pe Jingyuan stared at her, his expression unreadable. Jiang Xinyue lowered her gaze, then extended the token toward him. "Since everything is over, I should return this to your Highness." Pe Jingyuan did not take it. Instead, he stepped closer, once, twice, until only a small distance remained between them. Jiang Xinyue's heartbeat quickened. His gaze was far too intense. Then his deep voice sounded, "The token does not need to be returned." Jiang Xinyue froze. Pe Jingyuan leaned slightly closer. "I want this token to remain part of your life, for the rest of your life." Jiang Xinyue's eyes widened. She understood immediately. This was not about the token anymore. This was a proposal. For the first time, her heart lost its usual calm. Then slowly, she smiled. "All right." A rare warmth appeared in Pe Jingyuan's eyes. He raised his hand and gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Soon after, an imperial decree arrived. The engagement between Jiang Xinyue and Lu Tingxiao was officially annulled. From this day forward, the two no longer had any ties. Another decree followed shortly after. Jiang Xinyue was to marry Pe Jingyuan. Their wedding shook the entire capital. Red silk covered the palace. Betrayals echoed through the sky. As Jiang Xinyue looked at the man before her, a thought surfaced in her heart. In her previous life, love had destroyed her. In this life, she had chosen a different path. Life was unpredictable, the future uncertain. But this time, she was willing to gamble. On him. And for the first time, she felt no regret.